Well, hello everybody. Welcome to In the Kitchen with Hallie Faye. It's been a busy day today for me. I don't know about y'all, but I've been rocking and rolling today. But I wanted to take the time to show everybody how to make this old-time bread pudding. I spoke earlier about that in one of my videos that I was going to show y'all how I make my bread pudding like my mother. And we consider this an old time because the bread pudding you get today and everything, which I love all of them, I do, but this is the texture and everything that I'm going to show y'all is so different from what you normally see in the bread puddings that people make today, because it's got the chunks of bread and stuff in it and everything, right? This is going to be, it's very, I'm going to show you, see if I can show you, see, it's soupy. I have had, well, let me say this first. I save my breads, my rolls, my biscuits, my bread loaves and stuff, that the bread that we don't use or we're not going to eat or whatever, and I save it. I put it in bags and put it in the freezer until I accumulate enough that I want that. Like I said again, rolls, bread, biscuits. Oh, I have biscuits in here. I even have some donuts that I had in here, but it's all breads now, not cakes or cookies, okay? As long as it's breads. And no, it's not any kind of wheat breads or nothing like that. It's all the white bread stuff. But anyway, I have saved enough and everything until I crumbled and measured. I have never measured this in my life, so I tried to measure it today for y'all, okay? So what I have in this big bowl is 12 cups of crumbled, 12 measured cups of crumbled bread, okay? And it's all kinds in here. I have everything in here, like I said. So it's 12 cups of crumbled bread, and I have, I wrote it down, let's see, 5 cups of milk in here. And what you have to do is pour it over that and let it sit for a while and let that bread soak it up and get squishy, real soft and squishy in there. You don't want to add all your ingredients all at one time and put it in the pan and bake it. This has been, matter of fact, I have this milk sitting here in it, and I've had it sitting to the side before I got on here with y'all. It's been sitting for probably 20 minutes in this bowl, maybe longer. But anyway, say up to a half hour is a good time measure on it if you want to measure on that. I would say just set it off to the side for a half hour and let it just sit there and soak up all that milk and everything. But the main thing is you want it, it's got to be soupy. I'm going to call it soupy. So I've mixed that all in here and everything, right? So now I'm going to add my sugar. So I'm going to have to measure this out one at a time. I'm going to wait. I have 6 eggs to put in here, but I'm going to wait to do that because I want a taste of it, since I'm going to try to measure the sugar for y'all, okay? And it takes a lot of sugar to go off in here. But we've got it, it's good and soupy, so I'm just going to take me some granulated sugar here. I'm going to dip up. There's 1 cup. We're going to do 2 cups, and I'll taste of it. Let me get 2 cups of sugar stirred in here. Get it all mixed in real good and everything. This is, I can't say it enough how different this is from the other bread puddings. Really, this is the old way, I think, that they used to make it, or I was taught that this was the old way. Y'all have to excuse the way I look today. I've got so much going on and my old work clothes on and stuff. I apologize for looking a little rough. But I can still make bread pudding no matter what I look like, okay? So we're going to stir this up. Get that in there and grab me a spoon. You know what? I think that's just right. I'm going to write it down right now. 2 cups of sugar. 2 cups. Alright. Okay. And I've got everything else figured out pretty much on measuring, I guess. So what I'm going to do next is add a stick and a half of butter, and it's at room temperature, okay? Get a knife here. I'm going to kind of chop it up in some little blobs there so it'll stir up a little easier. Well, I thought I was. See, I've got it pretty soft there. It don't have to be soft because it's not going to mix in here. You'll see. I'll show it to you how it looks when you go to mixing it. But I'm going to get that in there. It leaves little, you'll see kind of chunks of butter in it sometimes or whatever. Don't worry about that. Just get it stirred in there. And you'll see where the butter's broken up in it and stuff. Let me see if I can get it up close enough here. You see the butter? Yeah, see all those little butter pieces in there? And that's fine. You don't have to try to get those to break down stirring it or whatever. Now, okay, now that we know that I've got the right amount of sugar in it, I'm going to go ahead and add my 6 eggs. Okay. Get them broken up. I could have beaten them before I put them in here just to help it mix better, but it's not necessary. It's so soupy, it mixes easy. When you bake this, you want it to be moist, real moist and stuff. And I'm going to bake it in a deep pan. I don't want to bake it out in like a 9x13 pan, okay? I want to bake it in a, matter of fact, I'll show you the pan I've got. It's one of these things, and I've got it sprayed, see? But see what I'm talking about, how deep it is? That way, it helps keep it moist when it's baking. If you do it in a shallow pan or whatever, it's just not as moist. It still has that taste, but the texture isn't as nice as you like or whatever. Now, cinnamon. Now, this may sound crazy to y'all, but don't freak out over it or whatever, but I couldn't believe it. I looked in my pantry, and I was almost out of cinnamon. But see, I have a little 1/4 cup measure here, and see, I don't have quite a 1/4 of a cup. But I'm going to dump this in here, and I'm pretty certain that I would add more than this, but I'm going to go ahead and dump that in there, and let me see what it looks like. You think it's crazy when you're like, oh my goodness, that's a lot of cinnamon, but it doesn't make it crazy cinnamony like you think it's going to. Get it stirred in here. Now, like people like to put raisins in it. And I would put raisins in it if I wanted to. Like put a cup of raisins in it. I don't know, however many. You could put 2 cups if you wanted to. If you like lots in there. Or you could just speckle it with a cup of them. Okay? But Buzz doesn't like raisins. So, I don't put them in here. Mama didn't put raisins in hers. But I like the raisins in it. But that's a matter of choice. Okay. Let me see. Dang, I already added the eggs too. Oh well, I still got a taste of it. I still say the 1/4 cup. 1/4 cup of cinnamon, okay? 1/4 cup of cinnamon. And then we're going to add we're going to add 2 tablespoons of vanilla. Let me write it down. Okay. And that's going to be all we put in here. That's going to be your old home style bread pudding. And it has to bake for a good while. And again, I don't know how long that is. But I will put it in the oven and bake it, and then I will come back and get it out of the oven. I'll do the second video, part 2, okay? And show y'all what it looks like when it comes out of there, and show y'all what I do for the sauce. Which y'all be pleased with that, because I don't make it homemade. I can, but it's unnecessary. And I'll tell y'all why in that video. Okay, let me see here now. Let me put it up close for y'all. See how it's brown looking from the cinnamon? Excuse me. And see, look how soupy it is. So, there you go. Alright, now I'm going to just pour it up in here. Can you see what I'm doing? You do it like that, maybe? I'll do this. Maybe if I turn it this way. Alright. We're just going to pour it in there, and look, it makes this size pan. And I tried to look on this little pan to see what size, as to like quarts or whatever that is. And I couldn't see it. So I don't really know what size this is, but I wish I knew how to. Maybe I'll find something else to figure it out. I don't see it on the lid, and I didn't see it on the bottom anywhere. But, you know, anyway, you'll just have to get you a little old deep dish. You can do it in a glass one. I looked at my glass ones first, and I didn't have one big enough that was the deep kind that I wanted. So, anyway, for a little while, I'm going to put this lid on it. So if you have a dish and it doesn't have a lid or whatever, just put you some foil on it. And that'll help it rush it along, cooking it on the inside somewhat, you know, and it keeps it from drying out, which it won't hardly dry out anyway. But do it like this. I've got my oven preheated on 350, and I'm just going to put the lid on it and set that puppy in there. I'll tell you what, I'm going to get one of my old pans to set it on. Oops, I bumped that, didn't I? That's alright. I'm going to set it on here, because it will puff up at first. It's going to puff up when it's baking because of all those eggs in there and everything, and then it'll fall, and then that's when it gets thick and compact in there and everything, and you cut it out in the big moist squares and stuff and eat it with your sauce on it and everything. It's good stuff, y'all. So I'm going to put this in the oven, and I will be back with part 2 after a while when this thing bakes, because it's gonna have to bake a while, you know, at least an hour, but probably longer than that. I don't know. We'll see though. All right, guys. Thank y'all, and I'll see you in a bit.